What is going on, everybody? It's Winged,
And admit it.
and welcome back to Chaotic Minds. Sorry about this episode coming out a little bit late. Weather, where we're at, kind of sucks.
The weather has dictated that we have no internet.
Pretty much. So a lot of what we are going to be talking about was actually recorded prior in the week, with a few adjustments due to one, not only the weather sucking and us not able to get it out earlier, but the audio file had been corrupted, which is not fun.
Not good.
So we had to re-record everything.
Hopefully we don't have an issue this time, though.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. So we are trying out a new thing. If it sounds a little soft or a little loud or however,
Let us know.
yeah, please. I do like the idea of doing it this way, just for the simple fact that we can get everything out all at once, rather than having to chop it into bits. And we're gonna see if it actually holds up and works that way.
Or pause in the middle of a sentence and try to remember what you were saying. And
Yep.
then, memories,
Yep.
brain function. Yeah, not good.
No. So one of the things that I actually wanted to start this episode off with is there's been a lot of talk here recently about climate change and everything that's going on in that regard. Now, when I say climate change, I am not just talking about global warming, global cooling, because I have opinions on that, and
El Nino, La Nina,
no, I'm talking
Taco
like,
Bell.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I'm talking like, oh, the planet is getting exponentially warm, or yada yada, and then people go ahead and they turn around and they're like, oh, well, if that's the case, then how come this? Well,
We're entering biblical times, so we're all dead in a few years.
the issue with it is, there is moments of global warming or moments of global cooling.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. I mean, if you go ahead and you take a look back in our recent history, yeah, things have gotten warmer. And Mr. Gore, when he did his whole documentary on it, was correct. We are increasing the temperature of the planet by emitting all of these greenhouse gases.
We're in that warm swing of the cycle.
Exactly. Because back in the 1300s, there was actually a bunch of years. I can't remember exactly how many. But there were years where everything was warm. Everything was good. Crops were going great in England and overseas and Europe and whatnot.
And in the downswing, in the cold stuff, is that when we had the potato famine?
No, we don't talk about the potato famine. But no, it's everything was going great for years and years and years. And then, to steal a line from Game of Thrones, winter came, and it was the coldest, though, like, for years it was so cold. During the winter, I mean, it would get down to well below what we are even used to now. I mean, there was a point in time where once everything started to thaw out in summer, mind you.
Yeah.
And by thaw out, I mean, like, it was a nice brisk, 60-ish.
I could deal with that.
They were finding people still frozen to death and still in frozen form in houses when they went to go check and collect taxes from everybody. I mean, these people had froze to death and had been so frozen that even months after
they were very well preserved.
Extremely well preserved. Like, think Arctic mummy style of preserved.
Yeah.
And that happened now, like, a little over 700 years ago. But I will fully admit, with the way that we are producing all of these greenhouse gases that we are, with CO2 emissions, cars going out all over the place and all that, we are contributing in helping with increasing the planet's temperature. There are ways to stop it, And a lot of, environmental groups have gone ahead and said, look, these are some ways. And we have the idea to go ahead and get everything on the right track and onto that track. The problem is we have a lot of lobbyists who are pretty much saying to members of Congress and to governments, across the planet, oh, we don't need this. And they're working for these oil companies and all of these other companies that have to do with the production of these greenhouse gases. And they are pretty much saying, oh, hey, by the way, if you do this, we'll give you this amount of money. If that in itself is not a bribe to an official, I don't know what is. Like, regular people, like, you get pulled over while you're driving, right? And you go ahead and you look at the cop and you're like, oh, hey, by the way, if you let me out of this ticket and don't give me a ticket, or you don't arrest me for doing something highly illegal, I will go ahead and donate a bunch of money to the police charity or to the police in general, and you'll have that available to you. That's pretty much what is going on with Congress and other governments across the planet with all of these lobbyists. That is blatant bribery. I don't care how you dress it up.
Yeah.
I want you to do this thing to make my company better, or to get my company money, or to cut my company a deal or something to that extent. And in return, I'll give you money for your party, for your government, insert whatever. Like, that's bribing. I like I said, I don't care how you dress it up. You can put a bow and tie and dress it all in sparkles and rainbows and jelly beans. It's still fucking bribing. And that's legal. But yet, you go ahead and, like, regular Joe Schmoes like you and I, we even think about doing the same thing to somebody. Oh, they took bribes. Oh, this person's bribing. Let's put them in jail. How?
Yeah.
How is that okay?
Exactly. And the thing that most people don't think about is you, as a normal person, you can't do things like that because it's frowned upon. But the higher you go in government or a business or what have you, the more accepted it is.
Like, seriously.
And it's not cool.
It's not. And it's...
Because the CEO could be doing something highly illegal, and I could be doing something highly illegal, and only I'm going to get arrested because, well, money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah, pretty much. It and with the way that this planet is going right now, as it stands, if we continue down this road of destruction that we are leading, this isn't going to end anytime soon. I mean, we're seeing torrential downpours days upon days, and possibly, even weeks upon weeks in certain areas that haven't seen it before, which is causing all sorts of property damage, environmental damage, loss of life. I mean, look at fucking California. For the first time in who the fuck knows how long, they are not in a drought warning right now.
Not only that, but if you look at Texas on the same aspect, they've seen the southern parts of Texas have been seeing snow.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, my parents live in South Carolina. They saw snow down there, and my mom was like, "I thought I got rid of this when I left, home."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, snow can happen anywhere. It all depends on, atmospheric pressure and whatnot." But we're seeing all of these storms, that are 10 times more powerful than what we're used to. We're seeing more tornadoes and more hurricanes and stronger hurricanes.
Earlier in the season,
and in places that you wouldn't think that you'd see them at. And it's because the world and the atmosphere is all fuckered. Like,
yeah.
The easy way to put it is that it's fuckered up. And we're like, well, why is this happening? How can this be? Well, we're kind of not helping the problem.
We're destroying the planet one day at a time.
But at the same time, it is part of that cycle. I mean, we haven't gone, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound really fucked up, and I'm sorry. We have not gone through an extinction level event in millennia. The last extinction level event that we had went through was back in the prehistoric times. You know, every couple of
The asteroid that
thousands of
killed the
years-
dinosaurs.
Well, no, not even the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. There was a point in time, and I can't remember, like, because this is like prehistory and whatnot. You know, pre-intelligence to be able to write stuff down. There was a point in time, thousands upon millions of years ago, where like the entire population of the planet had been wiped out, and all that was left was stuff in the deep ocean that had to come back up, according to science, and pretty much start over again. Like, and that
Control, delete.
that was a cycle of events that was happening. Like, that's what the world went through. We have not seen one of those in a very long time, and I hate to say this, and I hate to bring this up because there's negative connotation, you know, from those people on like in certain areas. You can read between the lines. I honestly believe that COVID was one of those possible events.
Exactly. And the thing is like people, we have such decent technology as a world, as a planet right now.
For the most part.
We just have stupid fucking people. People screw things up more than anything else.
I don't think like in
Hear me out though.
I'm all right. Go ahead.
So you've got something like COVID,
Yeah.
which I have a theory on that, and I'll just let you know it's hysterical. Somebody released that shit. It
How
was
is that
somebody
funny?
was paid
How is that funny?
to release that shit.
How is that funny?
It's not funny.
So
Everybody-
why'd you say it's hysterical?
Everybody chuckles at my opinion on that. Like I'll voice my opinion on that, saying, "Hey, you know, somebody was paid to release that. Somebody was definitely paid to fucking release that. Whether it was an American, a Chinese official, whatever.
Russia, Ukraine,
They worked together
Italy,
to
somebody.
release something into our atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
I have no doubt about that. The thing is, we've got the technology, the means, the know-how, the product to help recover from this. And my opinion on it is the fact that, yes, somebody was paid to release this so that somebody could make even more money to help prevent it in the future.
Possibly.
And I mean, look at it. We've got vaccines, and everybody was all pissed off that we took less than a year to develop this vaccine. Hey, morons. Why don't you look at the technical term for COVID? It's called SARS-CoV-2. It's a SARS virus.
SARS-CoV-19.
No, SARS-CoV-2 is the technical term for COVID-19. It is. Trust me on that. I've been through it. I've done the research and everything else.
Okay.
There was a SARS virus in our parents', well, I should say our grandparents' generation,
Okay.
that was almost identical to COVID-19,
Okay.
molecular-wise.
Okay.
So they've been working on a cure or a vaccine for it since then. I'm almost 40 years old. My grandparents had SARS when they were younger. Guess what? They've been working on the vaccine for it since then.
Now we're going into conspiracy theories and whatnot, and I'm not real comfortable with that.
No, and that's
At least
what I
not
think.
right now. I mean, we can take an episode later on in the future and turn it into a conspiracy
And
theory.
that's my thing. Those
style.
global events, as technology advances, are going to be curbed or prevented until there's a point where there is something that we're absolutely 100% not going to be able to prevent.
Like an asteroid.
No, we can destroy asteroids before they hit our atmosphere. I'm talking more along the lines of, I don't know, the sun exploding.
You and I will be long dead before that.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about we're working.
I
to
mean,
prevent.
there's talk that Beetlejuice just went supernova, And by just went, I mean
thousands
they
of years
went,
ago.
Betelgeuse went supernova a while ago, and we're just now seeing it because that's how space works.
Yeah, light years. No, my thing is like you, the further we go in time,
Mm-hmm.
the more our technology and our know-how advances, the
Mhm.
more our knowledge develops,
Mm-hmm.
the more
Well-
we're going to be able to prevent and kind of taper down.
I can kind of see your point in that because look at how fast we've gotten with developing technology, like computer-wise, right? Like
You walk out of a
Back in, like,
computer
the
store and your
19
shit's already out of date.
back in like the 1900s when we first started to fly, we were just doing like sticks and cloth and whatnot, and now we have jets and ships and spacecraft that go faster than the speed of sound multiple times in just that short amount of time. Remember when we were growing up, cell phones were either
Bricks.
like when I like 1990s, when I was like young enough, I was only like 2 or 3 years old at that point. But like you would see sci-fi movies where people were talking to other people long distance with these little devices that they would hold in their hand and up to their ear, or they put their hand up to their ear like they were Secret Service, but there would be no wires or nothing there. There'd just be a little fucking looked like a plug in their ear, and that's how they would communicate with people long distance wise. And then like 1992 or whenever the cell phone was released, you'd have this briefcase and you'd have to open up the briefcase to pull out a phone to be able to talk to somebody.
And it was
And
still
look
on a
how
cord.
look how fucking quick we went from having to carry around a brick in our hands or a suitcase in our hands to cell phones nowadays are so small that they
Fast.
can fit into our pockets. We're getting we can get terabytes of data on these phones. We have Bluetooth devices that can connect to 6 different fucking things all at the same time. And remember when I said about those little devices in the 1990s movies where they put their finger up? We have that.
Mm-hmm. Or how about my favorite thing? There was a cell phone that looked just like a little Fitbit. It was a bracelet, and then it projected onto your skin, and
That's the future.
How the fuck? No,
That's
they have
the
it
future.
now.
I know, but like that's going to be what everybody uses in the future.
Oh hell no! That's if you have to spend more than your rental payment or your house payment on a fucking phone, no. That's why I don't like iPhones. Shoot
But
me
no,
if you
I
want
mean,
to. Get mad at me if you want to.
Look how
I prefer
quickly
Android.
look how quickly everything has we have innovated technology. There is going to come a time where something happens in the world, whether it's a giant fucking superstorm that lights the atmosphere on fire or the sun exploding or something terrible happens, we're not going to be able to stop it.
Exactly. It's going to be one of those split-second things that happens, and there's not going to be time to prevent it.
Like Day After Tomorrow, fantastic idea, movie-wise, no fucking common sense in any sort of space or weather field. Like I like that movie because it's like, yeah, what if this actually happened?
Exactly.
The problem is the meteorologist side of me that I learned in the Navy tells me, and just basic science tells me
That
that
can't
that
happen.
wouldn't happen. We wouldn't freeze the planet because we're pulling shit in from space. No. The amount of friction that we would get as air was rushing through our atmosphere to get to our surface wouldn't freeze anything. It would light the atmosphere on fire.
Yeah.
So, our world would be nothing more than a molten slab of rock.
Dumpster fire.
But that is like worst case scenario when it comes to these weather patterns
Yeah.
and the weather in general and the world climate. Like, if we don't fix shit, right, our kids and our grandkids are going to inherit a world that's full of nothing but fucked. And I do mean to say that just like that.
You can ask our children now. The world is already fucked.
I mean, yes, the world is already fucked. Because
Humanity is fucked.
Yeah. But the planet itself, it does have a chance to go ahead and be brought back to a state of balance and stability. I mean, let me ask you this. Do you know a good sign or a sign that the atmosphere is stable? It's called fog.
Yeah.
Because moist, wet air is sitting on the surface and warm, dry air is trapping it, is pretty much on top of that. And that's when we get all of those fucking, that's when you get a fog cloud. A fog is a sign that the atmosphere is pretty stable. You know, storms, on the other hand, is the atmosphere trying to stabilize itself out. And that is what we're seeing right now. I mean, when we have storms in areas like desert areas or, you know, areas that are pretty much a climate rather than have, you know, they tell you what the climate is going to be rather than here's the weather for today. It's here's the climate for the week. You know, when you're having to switch from climate to weather, that's a problem. And then you have other places in the world where they're having droughts and they're not getting any sort of rain or moisture, and it's fucking the ecosystem up down there.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with the planet, and we are not helping.
No, we're helping, all right. We're helping it along.
Yeah. I mean, would it be fantastic to go ahead and be able to go outside and hop in an electric car and drive off? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But because these CEOs and these companies are making it so fucking expensive to do anything like that, we can't do that. On top
Nobody
of that,
can afford it.
then you have these lobbyists from these oil production companies or these coal production companies or these nuclear powered places that are like, oh, hey, by the way, if you go ahead and say no to this clean energy bill, we'll give your party $100 million for each signature that you get. Saying no, we're gonna say no to this. Like that, it's the corporate greed and all of that that's fucking everything up. You can't move forward without stepping on a few toes. Unfortunately, that's just the way that innovation works. Somebody's not going to be happy with what you do.
You're going to piss somebody off no matter what you
And the
decide.
problem is that we have these people who are so hesitant because, oh, what if we make this group mad? Who the fuck cares? We are trying to advance our society and our planet to a point where we can leave. When we leave, our children and our children's children are okay. You know, they're not going to have to deal with, you know, all of these superstorms and mega cells and whatnot in the environment.
And here's the thing. I know that this person in particular has...
We're not going to drop names.
Stated things. No. This is a good name to drop.
Oh, okay.
Because it's part of that next generation that's trying to bring our planet back into some sort of harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Greta Thunberg.
Okay.
Talking the way she does. You know, she's a child that is like, yo, this is fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
We need to be doing this, this, and this. And adults are like, oh, you're a kid. What do you know? What do you know?
What does age have to do with anything in that regard?
Take a minute to listen to exactly what she's talking about, and you'll pretty much see that us adults, our parents and our grandparents, have fucked this planet for our kids.
Well, and my thing in that regard is, you know, those people who are like, well, she's just a kid. How can she know? What does age have to do with anything? Like, if you see an injustice or something wrong, it shouldn't matter how old you are. Well, that's just the way the world works. Why? Why is that the way that the world works?
She questions authority, and that's what I love about her.
It's like, why is it okay to just keep the status quo when we have the power and the ability to change it to make it better? Why are we stuck in these times of being fucked?
Complacency is comfortable.
Something to that extent. You know,
people just have no idea how much we fucked our planet for our kids.
Seriously. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't get it, and I don't think I ever will. And to those who, you know, come after us, I'm sorry that we left the world the way that we did. I that's the only real thing I can do. And trying to affect change is extremely difficult in that aspect if nobody else wants to listen and hear what anybody is saying, because they are more comfortable with the way that they are. And in that aspect, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we, as generations before, can't seem to pull our heads out of our collective asses. So that's that. I think, I don't know. There's so much more that can go into this, and that can we can talk about and go into with this subject. I struggle to be able to find the words to be able to do so. So from there, I think I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna move us to the next topic, which is equally as controversial. I am going to fully admit, and I know this isn't normally a topic that we cover, and that's the only forewarning that I'm going to give you. Okay.
Okay.
I know that we had said something to each other before we even started this whole thing, that there were going to be some topics that we probably shouldn't cover. But I feel like this is something that definitely needs to be, something needs to be said. And we should talk about this. And that it's mainly for us in the United States. Some aspects of it can go ahead and be put toward other countries. But in this regard, this is a U.S. problem, potentially just a U.S. problem.
Okay.
So, yesterday, there was breaking news
Oh, God.
that happened, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh. A former president here has been indicted on charges in regards to misuse of campaign finances back in 2016.
Use your own money to pay off your porn star, idiot.
Well, okay. We don't know if, just because we're not in the courtroom, we don't have eyes on any of the evidence that is there. We can only go off of accusations, assumptions, and, track record. But for the first time in American history, a former president has been charged with a crime that happened before their presidency. And for a lot of people, that is unheard of. Like, I have family members that it's like, that is unheard of. That is unconstitutional. That's not right. They're just doing a witch hunt. They're going after this person, yada, yada, yada. Because of the political party that they belong to. Or there is no precedent for it. Or, insert however you want to put that. My counter to that is, regardless of who they are, regardless of what position they've held, regardless of how much money they have, regardless of what political party I'm struggling to think of the word like associate with or be a representative of. People in the United States have to follow the laws of the government, even if they were a part of said government. The law is the law of the land. It is not the law for everybody but this one person. Period. End of statement. And if there is evidence that something wrong or a law has been broken, if there's evidence of it, then by all means, charge that person with the crime. Regardless. I don't care if it's the Pope. I don't care if it's a president, current or former. I don't care if it is the biggest donor to a children's hospital. I don't care if it's the emperor of another nation that has come here, or a former emperor from another nation that's come here and they fucked up somehow. There are still laws that we as Americans have to follow. Period. End of statement.
Regardless of what we do for a living.
If this was anybody else and they were accused of pretty much embezzling money and whatnot, that person would be charged with a crime and thrown in jail. If they were accused of using money inappropriately or in a way that wasn't what they had said it was going to be for, then they would be going to jail. If they were charged and found guilty, they would be going to jail. End of story. But yet, why are we having such a conniption over being indicted, which pretty much says we're not charging them yet. We are simply finding information. This is a pre-charging step. So people getting so upset about it makes no sense whatsoever. And a crime is a crime is a crime, regardless. You can go ahead and steal a loaf of bread for your family because you have no money, still a crime. You go ahead and you steal money from a bank, it's a crime. You lie to a federal investigator or a cop,
still a crime.
It's a crime. You go ahead and you kill someone, whether it's in the heat of passion because or
you plan it out.
Like, this is how I'm going to eat this person. You kill them. It's still a crime. It doesn't matter.
It's a crime regardless if you get caught or not, but it becomes a problem when you get caught. And I say when because you will get caught eventually.
But, like, a crime is a crime. It shouldn't matter who commits it. Like, and I'll say the same thing for our current president. He committed a crime. He should be charged for it.
Anybody that commits a crime should be charged for it, regardless.
Like, top secret information is top secret for a reason. When I was in the military and I was in the Navy, there was a couple of spaces that I would go into that were top secret or marked as secret. And you needed a clearance in order to get in there. And if you took any information out of it without permission and without signing anything off and without doing anything, you were charged with a crime. Should President Biden be charged with a crime?
Yes.
Absolutely. He committed a crime while he was vice president.
I mean, and think about it too. Like, even something as simple as me when I was in the Army being at battalion staff headquarters when W was president.
George W. George W. Bush.
But, like, when he came to battalion staff headquarters and I had to do my duties as part of that battalion staff that was there that day, like, there are certain things that I've overheard that even today
you can't talk about.
I can't talk about.
No.
Or I will be charged with a crime.
Like, a crime is a crime. Now, to those people who are listening who are leaning a little more red, do keep this in mind. I am saying that the current president should be charged with a crime. I am not denying that. However, do not ignore the fact that the former president also committed a crime in doing the same thing.
he's a Republican. He shouldn't be charged with it because, make America great again.
I could think that these documents... No. That's not how it works. One, you have to get it cleared by the Department of Defense. Especially
there are
military
several
secrets.
people that need to clear it.
2, you need to clear it with the Department of Justice. 3, you need to clear it with Congress. You might be the president, but you're only one of 3 in that regards. And by one of 3, there are 3 branches of our government. There is no end-all, be-all, numero uno, one
Thumb
of our
God.
government.
No, and that's
Otherwise,
the thing.
it wouldn't be a republic or a democratic government. It would be a fucking dictatorship, kind of like what they have in Russia.
And that's
You
want
to go ahead and be like, oh, our country is the greatest country in the world. Then start treating it the same.
Start acting like it.
Like, don't sit there and be like, oh, our country is the greatest in the world, but yet we go ahead and we go after one party because they don't agree with what we have to say or how we should do things. We want to go ahead and give one person all of this power. No, that's not how it works. And second piece to that, you give one person power to do whatever the fuck they want. Hey, guess what is no longer needed or required? Your services are no longer required for this occupation. Any sort of senatorial or house or representative position.
And see, and here's the other thing. I don't think that keep both the president, current Biden, former president Trump. I have opinions on both.
Yeah. I mean, so do I.
Politicians are like diapers. They should be changed frequently and for the same reasons.
I mean, we do that every 4 years.
But the thing is, with Trump being charged with a crime,
Mm-hmm.
and with the fact that we think that, yeah, Biden broke the law too, so yeah, he should be charged. They should not continue to receive benefits from their presidency if they are charged with a crime like that.
Mm-hmm.
They continue to get paid
Oh,
for life.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I mean,
No.
look at Richard Nixon, right? Well, let's go back in history.
I am not a crook.
Yes, you are, you dumbass.
He was the president when
Watergate.
Watergate happened. And that was all fucked up.
All sorts of fucked up.
Still won the presidency. Still was president.
Yeah, but
Look at fucking Bill Clinton. I did
not
not have
sexual relations with that woman.
Got impeached.
he still had the stain. She still had the stain on her dress. And she sold that bitch on eBay for a lot of money.
Well, no, like...
just to be able to write her book and publish it.
Well, no, like... Got impeached because he fucked up and he broke the law. Managed to get past the impeachment and stay president.
He cleaned up his act-ish. He was still doing things that the American public didn't really like, but,
or know about, up until...
That's the president.
Senor, I need to catch a plane.
Yeah.
The Clinton administration was behind,
Behind the flying lessons?
Not, they were behind the flying lessons. Like,
so was W.
Well, yeah. But, like, you...
They taught him to fly it while it's in the air. They did not tell him how to land. They taught him to take off. They taught him how to fly it in the air. But they figured out.
Okay.
Never mind.
Okay.
It was a little comedy skit that I watched a couple weeks ago. If I can find it, I'll have to tag it in the tagline for this. But it's freaking hysterical.
Anyways, but if you are a politician, it shouldn't matter if you're a politician or not. Like, politicians seem to get away with a lot more crimes than what we do, and then they pass laws to make it okay for politicians to do it, but still make it illegal for everybody else.
Or my personal favorite, the more money you have, the better your chances of getting off are. And so on that aspect, I'm glad to see that some of that is starting to be cast aside, like that thought process is being cast aside, because there are several millionaires now that are in jail. Yeah, it's going to be a cushy, like,
Oh yeah.
prison, but
Mhm.
they are still serving their time.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd and Julie Chrisley, tax evasion. Cool, tax fraud. They're in jail.
Yeah.
7 years and 5 years, respectively.
Mhm.
Douchebag Joshua Duggar. Child pornography, molestation. He's got 20 years. He's in a federal prison, and he's not in a very good place.
Yeah.
Because he is not. He's in protective custody, but because of how well known he is,
As a
his
target.
crimes are known. He has to be in protective custody.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, there will be several people. If there are things you know about prisoners, two things they don't take you well for
They
you to
don't
do.
deal well with.
They don't deal well with you abusing women or children. If you've not done one of those, you might as well sign your own death warrant.
Yeah.
But it's like now you're seeing the norm change. I mean, R. Kelly's still in jail. Like I said, you've got Duggar, you've got Julie Chrisley, you've got Martha Stewart. Hers was cushy and whatnot, whatever. But
Hers is more of a white collar thing.
yeah,
Which
hers
is
was.
why hers was all cushy and all that. If she killed someone, oh no, she wouldn't have a cushy.
Yeah, but I mean, look at her now. She's turned it around, and one of the biggest supporters she has is fucking Snoop Dogg. I
Yeah.
mean, seriously. But no, like, you're seeing the norm change, and I think that's a positive part of our society right now, is more and more people are starting to think the same way we are. That no matter who you are, no matter how much money you have, you still need to do your time if you do the crime.
A crime is a crime is a crime.
Exactly.
Does not matter if,
Sorry about that, guys. His phone went off.
if you are a politician. Should not matter if you have a bunch of money, if you don't have a bunch of money, if like everything.
It
and
shouldn't matter if you're an
all of-
evangelical priest. It shouldn't matter who you are. If
Yeah.
you do a crime, you do a fucking crime.
And only God can judge me. No,
No,
judges
we
can
have a
judge you
judgment
too.
of our peers. That's what a jury is.
Yeah. But like it'll be. I will say this: it'll be very hard pressed to find anybody who is not going to be, if they do any sort of jury, like polling or that jury selection.
Is going to be tainted.
It's gonna be all sorts of fucked. Well, what political party are you? Well, I'm this. Well, we can't have you because biasness. There's only going to be one real way that you're going to be able to have anybody
Impartial.
in there, and that's to have a bunch of independents.
And
I'm
that's-
just
and
gonna
that's
just gonna
exactly
be
what it
honest
is.
here.
That's exactly what they need. Like, sorry, if I was called up for jury duty, I've never been called up for jury duty, thank God. Probably should knock on wood, but we don't have any real wood around here. Anyway,
I honestly think that depending on the case,
yeah.
I think I would like doing jury duty.
Like I said, I would like the chance. Like, I would like the chance to go before an inquiry and say, being asked questions, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?
It's all fucked.
And that'll get you dismissed from the jury real fucking quick. But no, like, I don't have an opinion on either side. Are there some circumstances where things need to be a little more lenient? Yes.
Like stealing bread because
Need to feed your family.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If I'm ever working in a place that sells baby formula, baby wipes, baby diapers, anything to do with feeding and clothing your baby, if you're walking out the store with it, I see nothing. Because shit has gone out of control. It's gotten so expensive that you have to borrow from Jim,
Beg, borrow,
Jack,
and
and
steal.
everybody. You have to beg, borrow, and steal just to feed your baby. And that's the thing. It's like if something like that, I could see being a little more lenient towards. But if you're
paying off a porn star with money that was meant for your campaign and then trying to be like, oh, this was just campaign finances. Oh, yeah, financing. Yeah.
Financing your dick being sucked is
it
not
was for
financing
stress
your campaign.
relief. It was for stress relief. No, that don't. Like, and that's
No.
if what was being claimed is true. And I'm gonna say that because as Americans, we have to abide by the innocent until proven guilty mindset. Is that actually what's going to happen in most cases?
Probably not.
No, but we should.
And here's my thing. Okay, one of the reasons, and think about this for a second. One of the reasons, and the biggest reason, and I think that Ms. Daniels is telling the truth about everything, 100% truth, is because, I'm sorry, I'm going to hell for this. Would you admit to doing something like that with that man?
It all depends on how much clout you could get.
Ew.
No, seriously. People, I mean, look at fucking Marilyn Monroe and
he
all the
paid
guys.
for his wife. I mean, come on.
Look at Marilyn Monroe and all the guys that she slept
Wives.
with. Look at Marilyn Monroe and look at how many people she slept with.
Marlon Brando, the Kennedy brothers. Yeah.
And some of the not so attractive ones.
But look how beautiful she is.
Right. But
she's using that beauty. But the thing
same thing with Stormy Daniels. There is no way in hell you could go ahead and look at her and say, knowing your preferences, Stormy Daniels is unattractive.
No, she's not. And that's
now here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, and I'm going to keep interrupting you because I have to get this thought out. You want to go ahead and she wants to go ahead and be looked at as serious, and she probably has aspirations of other careers and other things that she wants to do. You know, past being a porn star. What's a big way to go ahead and get that? Cause a controversy because it gets people talking about her. I mean, look at fucking Monica Lewinsky. Going back to, what we were. After everything that happened in the Oval Office and in the White House with Mr. Clinton, she went on to write a book, have several TV shows, direct. Yeah. She has all of these things ahead of her because of controversy she caused or that she was a part of back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Now look at Stormy Daniels. Am I saying that's actually what's happening right now? Absolutely not. We don't know. We don't have all the information.
We weren't the ones there.
We don't have any of the evidence. We don't have a tracking list, and we don't know what her motivations are because none of us are fucking mind readers. And if you claim to be a mind reader, what am I thinking? But no, like, this could be a good way to look at it. It could be clout chasing. However, and here's where I will agree with you. I don't think it is. Because if it was going along the lines that you were going on, would you actually admit to doing something like this, knowing that if anything negative is found out, you are doomed to obscurity, and everything and anything that you want to do in the future has no hope at all?
Exactly.
Is that a risk that you are willing to take?
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's the other reason why I think she's being 100% truthful. Are there some things that she may or may not embellish on? Yes, everybody does it. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, if she is out for clout, mm-hmm. or if she is out for money, right. or whatever, she would spill the beans on all the things she's done. Because let's face it, like you said, with Marilyn Monroe, look at the famous people she slept with. Some of them attractive, some of them not.
Oh, yeah.
If
some
she
of them
was
had
out
a
for
lot of power. I mean,
exactly.
the Kennedy family.
And that's the thing.
Joe DiMaggio.
Like, if she was out specifically for clout, she would have been like, yeah, I slept with this person, this person, this person, this person.
She'd be name dropping her entire fucking black book.
Exactly. But no, she's focusing on the one that did it illegally.
And then you also have to look at the other side. What does Trump have to lose if he's telling the truth?
His wife already said they'd be done.
Well, if he's telling
the truth.
She's
a mail order bride, and so was his other wife and his other wife. All of his wives have been mail order.
Anyways, we don't have proof of that. It's just speculation.
No.
Don't be tossing out. You know me, I like to have all sides of the story before I make any sort of decision. But if Trump is telling the truth, and that is not what happened and all that, then even with him telling the truth because he was involved in this controversy, that is
He's going to
something-
have a negative stain on his record.
Exactly. But what does Trump have to gain by lying and saying it didn't happen? Hiding evidence, pushing stuff away, stalling. What does he have to gain
Distracting
to do
from the bigger picture.
that? Yeah, what does he have to gain? Everything.
Exactly.
And we already know that Trump is a gambling man. Look how many businesses that he's had
He's a very poor gambler, though.
that have either succeeded or failed. Does he have a bunch of them that have succeeded? Absolutely. He has a huge, that's how he gained a lot
More
of
of his
fame and
businesses
fortune.
have failed than
But he
have
does have a
succeeded.
lot of businesses that have failed, and he was gambling on those as well. I mean, he tried gambling on the fact that that nobody would be willing to go ahead and check into things in New York, and now is being investigated for inflating and committing fraud, or he was being investigated for
Tax
committing
fraud.
for all of the businesses and properties that he owned.
Exactly. And
Now,
the
I
thing
don't know if
is,
that's still ongoing or not, but
it
still.
is. And see, and here's the thing. This is something that I don't get. This is something that I don't get about that whole situation. If he is doing this and he is proven to be guilty, it's going to cause such massive fallout. Not only for him and his wife, but for his children as well.
Well, see, this is where I'm a little torn. Because, yes, I do feel for the children. I especially feel for the youngest one.
Yeah.
However,
Barron should not have been brought into this shit.
However, Junior is already
Just
well
as guilty.
established into this, and he is along the same lines as his father. Ivanka, she
Has started to pull away once she, and that's
once
the
she
thing. She's
saw how
Exactly.
everything went down the way it did, then she's like, wait a second.
she started pulling away, but the thing is it's going to cause ramifications for her as well
Oh yeah,
because she was around during the presidency,
and she
during the
didn't.
campaign.
She didn't allow. She didn't stop anything.
She didn't, and who's to say? We don't know if she knew exactly where those funds for Stormy Daniels came from.
I mean, she was in charge of she was like one of the campaign managers.
And that's the thing.
So yeah, she knew.
And that's the thing is he doesn't think about that shit.
Well, he does. He just doesn't. The way that he portrays himself, he just doesn't care.
And that's
because
the
he
thing.
can't-
He doesn't
nothing-
give a shit about anybody but himself.
Nothing.
And that's the
Nothing can stick to him. That's the big thing.
He thinks
he
his
gives away.
followers are going to be there through thick and thin. And it's like, yeah, there are going to be some diehards that are there for him through thick and thin. But even the majority of his followers have started to go, Like when
Some.
he called for the protest, and there was more protesters against the protester.
Well, no, there are more protests for him being indicted.
than there was on the other side. And you think about it, it's like people have the right to change their mind about opinions. Cool, that's what opinions are. The more facts and the more evidence and stuff that I get, yeah, I'm going to change my mind about certain things. And that's your right. That's everybody's right. That's the beauty of this country.
Oh yeah.
But I find it funny that they're finding more and more evidence against him, and he's digging himself a deeper and deeper hole. And some people are like, "Oh, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter." And then some people are like, "Yo, I am Republican, but no."
And then we have people who are like pancakes. They're flippy floppy back and forth. I mean, look at Lindsey Graham.
Exactly.
He went ahead and January 7th, went before his fellow coworkers and was like, "Yo, this is messed up. I condone this." Yada, yada.
Exactly.
And then now he's all, well, it didn't happen the way. Motherfucker, we saw footage.
Live television, you idiot.
How can you go ahead and like some of these reporters and these anchors and whatnot are saying, well, it wasn't as bad. I mean, there was a lot of peacefulness and yada yada, and they show like these still frame shots.
I mean, a big example of that is Joe Rogan. we won't get into that, but he's another big example of that. Like, he's gone back and forth.
Yeah, well, he's also one of those people that he evaluates, he makes snap decisions and then evaluates afterwards. And
He likes to stir the shit pot.
That too. But no, like some of these people on these news broadcasts that are like, this actually didn't happen the way that it did. We saw footage of it. How can you say that? Well, it was actually peaceful
That's
footage,
exactly
and that was
how
just
it happened.
that was just in certain areas.
No.
Okay, when we see the entirety of a crowd surging, how can you say that's only in one area? When you hear people from behind locked doors, and it is a cacophonous sound, it is deafening, how can you say it was a small area? Like, you are trying to pamper or not really pamper, but like tone these things down for what? Well, because that's not how it happened. Excuse you. You know that whole, Pixar didn't happen? Yeah, vids, and it did happen.
Yeah, and people like to try to skew things, and that's the thing. It's like,
yeah, and that's the big thing. They're trying to skew it a certain way,
yeah.
and it. There are a lot of people who can see that for as it is. I mean, you want to go ahead and talk about like, oh, I don't believe anything unless I see it. Here's fucking proof. I don't see shit. Are you Ray Charles now? Like, how can you go ahead and state this couldn't have happened because there was no video evidence of it. And then when there is video evidence of something happening, it's all of a sudden it's, well, that's just the one side trying. No. If you're going to be in the news, right, and you're going to be reporting on the news, you need to give all of the facts and be unbiased and impartial.
And honest.
Period. I mean, are there things that you can go ahead and you can tone up or you can exaggerate a little bit to make things, to capture the attention? Yeah. Newspapers do it all the time. You see clickbait articles online all the time. You're looking at one right now.
Yeah. Ironically.
But like, you can't, like, doing that, but then you have to go ahead and explain everything. You give some shocking title and it draws people in, and then you go through everything and you explain it. That's why, like, when I go ahead and I try to give my opinion about something, it is my opinion. I'll tell a story as it's reported. I'll go ahead and get information. I'll dive into both sides and see what the fuck is actually happening.
Philly D is a good example of that.
But then I have my own opinion about things, and am I going to go ahead and show biasness at times? Absolutely. I'm human. There are certain things that piss me off enough that I can't help myself. But if I'm going to make myself out to be this award-winning journalist that has all these accolades and all this clout and yada yada yada, then you best be damn sure that I'm going to go ahead and be like, look, this is how things are. And then here's my opinion about it. Like you said, Philly D is a fantastic example of this. Philip DeFranco, by the way, for those who don't know. YouTuber. He's a YouTuber who's been out there for over 10 years. He has a news program on YouTube, and he goes over a couple of stories, tells the stories as they are, and then he has an opinion about things. And then he leaves it up for discussion. That is how it should be.
He likes to get the opposite side's opinions. And that's the great thing. And like you said, that's exactly how it should be.
And that's how it should be. But then we have these media stations that are like, oh, hey, we are going to make it seem like everything's okay, or it's the other side's fault. Why? Who does that help? Does that help the people that you're reporting to? No, it causes fear and anger and hate and disgust and problems.
And more questions.
And then you go ahead and you get the people involved in trouble. Like, seriously. Like, it just... The irritation that I have about this is unreal, and I'm trying my hardest to not just fly off on a tangent. But no, like, if it is being, let me back up here. With this accusation and this indictment, if things are the way that they are, as they are being reported, and Trump is guilty of these crimes, then he should be held responsible, and there needs to be a punishment. The American people already at this point don't really trust the legal system, because let's face it, it's fucking broken.
Yeah.
And we need to have that trust back. Should we be using one person as a scapegoat to do that? No, we shouldn't. And
we shouldn't be using them as an example either.
However, in order for us to start to have faith again in the American judicial system, then we need to start holding these big people accountable for their actions and for what they've done. It shouldn't matter if you are a 5-star general, the president or former president of any sort of United States, or some gas station worker down at the local, Texaco. If you do something and you fuck up, you should be charged for it. You should be held responsible for it.
And it should be the same punishment across the board.
And
regardless.
Anybody who sits there and says, "Oh no, you can't do that because of this," why?
Question the norm.
Why can't we do this? Why shouldn't they be held responsible for what they've done? Like that in itself doesn't make any sense. Like, if it's proven, if there's evidence and it proves it, why should they not be held accountable? Well, because no. They are a person. They are an American citizen. They are a proud American citizen for the most part. If you are an American citizen, guess what you need to do? Abide by American laws.
Exactly.
All of them. Not just some of them.
Not just the ones you like or agree with.
And you shouldn't sit there and then be like, well, we're going to pass a bunch of laws that make this legal. No. How is that okay? How is that okay? Why is that okay? It's not. I got caught on something and called out for something. So let's go ahead and make a law where I can do whatever it is that I fucking want to. And that's it. And only I'm allowed to use that law. Or certain people that I agree with are allowed to use that law.
Yeah.
Because then it takes everything and turns it from being one nation for all to one nation for some. And that's not how it should be. We are supposed to be a nation indivisible. Well, we're being very divisible right now. Pledge of Allegiance. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Exactly.
And we're taking it and we're making it
liberty
one nation,
and justice for some,
separated as fuck, with liberty and justice
for the rich.
Yeah. Well, not even for the rich. Liberty for the rich. Justice for those who have power.
Yeah.
That way they can feel justified in doing what they're doing. Like, that's not how this works. And yet, that's how it's looking like. So, am I a Democrat? No. Am I a Republican? No. I'm an independent. I see things... I look at things as they are. I am a pessimistic realist. Easy way to put it. Oh, hey. Pessimists will be like, oh, hey, that glass is half empty. An optimist, hey, look, that water is half full. Realist, me, hey, look, a glass of water. Like, that's how it is. And, that's just how I am, and that's how I'm going to call things. I'm a realist. If we want things to be real, if we want things to be equal, and we want justice for all and liberty for all, and we want to go ahead and make this claim that we're the greatest nation on the planet, and we have fair laws and equality and whatnot, then it should not matter who the fuck you are. Laws exist for a reason,
A crime is a crime is a crime.
and everyone needs to follow it.
Exactly.
Period. End of statement.
Yeah.
Anyways. So, I think that's gonna be it.
2 subjects today.
Well, I mean, they're
Woo!
pretty. Like one of them we spent
They're pretty heavy.
like one of them we
subjects.
spent like 30, almost 40 minutes on. They're pretty heavy subjects.
Yeah.
But we do hope that you enjoyed this episode of Chaotic Minds.
Let us know how you
Um,
like this format.
Yes, please let us know. And if we sound a little quiet, then just tell us, hey, turn it up, bitch.
Yeah.
But anyways, remember, don't
Don't
be a dick. And love everybody.
Exactly.
Don't forget to love each other. And we'll see you next week.
Exactly. See ya.
Bye.